I spent some time at the Albers Foundation. As you go more and more into Albers and his theory, of in his famous book of the interaction of colour,
Yeah.
you realise interaction is interaction. It's what colours do at their edges. It is about how do colours vibrate at their edges. And he talks about vibration. And there was this little poem, vibration is the stuff of life, like breathing. It reminds us we're alive, and like breathing, and it's like love. And I think for me, it's that line, that vibration, that energy, which isn't still, therefore you cannot hold it down, but it's that space between the sublime and beauty. It's that space between light and colour, which tells us that we are hovering in the void. We are both a being in the void, but also part of the void ourselves. One of the works of Albers that is often not known about, or people, because it's a print set. And I actually did an exhibition in Texas at Baylor University in Waco. And at the core of it was this set of prints. And they're called, I always get it the wrong way around, it's either hard edge, soft edge, or it's soft edge, hard edge. But anyway, it's a series of 10 prints where he's looking at this boundary. So that when you look at an edge, is it soft edge where you cannot see where the edge really is? When you try and identify where's the edge, you can't, it just is just not there. I think our body does pick up on it more. There's a sense of touch when we look, which we don't always think about. But when we look, we also look with our touch. We kind of, all of our senses are engaged in the act of looking at a work of art. And I think, that happens when you get those really subtle tonal kind of close areas where we may not see them, but they're happening on the other bits of our body.
I paint with 5 or 6 different whites on one painting. And, that I do get that energy just with those 2 simple whites. And what you were just saying then about Elbert's work, I tend to put a dot on and then I almost destroy that dot by dragging paint across it. So although the dot is there, I still get that blurred edge. And having speaking to you about it over the last couple of years, I've realised that there is a need within myself, and always has been, to create something that is solid and then to sort of distill it and to blend it. And it's in my own work when I've achieved that and I'm happy with that, I get that hard edge and I get that soft edge. And I think it's really important because it does allow the work to sort of vibrate, for a better word, isn't it?
It's also about reality. That seems to me is what reality is like. I still remember standing in Alison Kiefer's studio, vast barn, kind of 13 acres of studio, but looking at his works and having a kind of sudden realization that when you actually look at them, the paint is like a crust, is this sublime space. His history is the history of being.
Yeah.
In other words, it's about how we are constantly forming and dissolving, flux and flow, and that's what he talks about. And that's what I wrote about in the Royal Academy catalogue for his exhibition. I'm constantly drawn to artists who are showing me that edge of existence where we are seeing what it really is, that space where light becomes colour and colour becomes light.
I'm quite nervous of colour, and I'm not quite sure why. I do use it, but I tend to knock it back with white. Maybe it is just, I don't know. I'm always very in awe of people that are able to use it. So
but why? What I always find interesting is you say I'm nervous of colour, but I'll knock it back with white. And there is that art historical and theoretical thing of that black and white are not colours.
Yeah.
That other colours are, but black and white aren't. But for me, what I find really interesting, if you mix together all the colours in light, we know you get white light. So suddenly you've got white and black, but they are the accumulation, they are the absorption of all colours. So to me, black and white are the kind of ultimate colours because they contain all colour. And then you put together, where it gets really interesting is then, for me, coming with that theological background, you put together black and white. What happens when you mix black and white? You get grey. And then grey becomes that almost incarnational colour, where it mixes that which is invisible with that which is visible and physical into this space, which is which is kind of representation of both.